The day without bananas. One morning in the kitchen of Gru, a group of minions gather in front of the refrigerator. Bob excitedly opens the fridge to grab his usual breakfast. Inside, nothing. No bananas. Bob blinks a few times and checks again. Still nothing. He looks at Kevin in confusion. Kevin checks the other shelves in the refrigerator, then even the freezer. Still no bananas. The minions stand frozen for a few seconds, then panic. One minion faints. Another runs in circles holding his head. Stuart opens every kitchen cabinet, pulls out all the drawers, and even checks the microwave. There are no bananas anywhere. Kevin decides to lead the group out to search for bananas. Only a few minutes later, a whole crowd of minions is running all over the city. Their first stop is the supermarket. The minions rush to the fruit section, but only find apples, oranges, and watermelons. One minion picks up a watermelon, stares at it carefully, then sadly shakes his head. They run to a bakery next. Bob sees a cake shaped like a banana and quickly takes a bite, but it is only cream inside. He makes a disappointed face. At a juice stand, Stuart sees a yellow smoothie and drinks it in one gulp, then realizes it's mango juice. The whole group looks disappointed again. On the sidewalk, a minion suddenly notices a giant banana advertisement. All the minions rush toward it, hugging the poster and trying to, bite it. They continue searching everywhere: parks, street food carts, even garbage bins behind restaurants. Finally, the group sits down on the sidewalk, exhausted. Just then, a banana delivery truck drives past. The smell of bananas spreads through the air. The minions instantly jump up with sparkling eyes. They chase after the truck and climb into the back of it. Inside, the truck are huge piles of bananas. The minions hug bananas, eat bananas, and throw bananas into the air with joy. In the basement of Gru, a few minions are cleaning an old storage room. They rummage through dusty boxes filled with strange gadgets. One minion drags out a large suitcase covered in dust. When it opens, inside is Gru's old superhero outfit: a dark cape, a mask, and several unusual devices. The minions stare at it in amazement. One minion quickly puts on the cape and stands on a table, striking a heroic pose. The other minions get excited. Within seconds, they start dividing the items among themselves. One wears the mask, another grabs a grappling hook, and another puts on a glove that shoots gadgets. Soon they line up together, posing like a team of real superheroes. Out on the street, the minions begin their mission. One minion spots a cat stuck in a tree and immediately tries to rescue it using the grappling hook. But when he fires the hook, the rope pulls so hard that the entire branch snaps off. The minion, the cat, and the branch crash down into a pile of trash cans. The cat quickly runs away, while the minion slowly crawls out, his cape covered in garbage. Nearby, another group of minions notices a parked car. They think it must be some kind of emergency. One minion presses a button on the superhero glove, launching a sticky rope. The rope yanks the car door open, and the alarm starts blaring loudly. The minions panic and run in circles around the noisy car. The chaos quickly spreads across the street. A minion swings through the air with the grappling hook, but crashes straight into a traffic sign. Another tries to stop a moving bicycle by standing in the road with arms wide open, only to be pushed several meters by the bike. Meanwhile, a few minions attempt to rescue a man sleeping on a park bench by carrying the entire bench away while he is still lying on it. From a distance, Bruce steps outside and sees the chaos covering the whole street. He crosses his arms, his expression turning dark. Bruce walks over and quickly takes out the cape and all the gadgets from the minions. The minions stand in a line with their heads lowered like children who have just been scolded. Bruce sighs and walks away. Inside the laboratory of Dr. Nefario, machines and gadgets beep and buzz everywhere. A group of minions tries to find something fun to do. One minion presses a random button on a strange machine, causing soap bubbles to shoot all over the room. Another minion puts on a metal helmet that is far too big, wobbles a few steps, and then falls over. Just then, Gru walks in. He looks at the chaotic laboratory and then at the three bored girls. After thinking for a moment, Gru pulls out a map and points to a forest outside the city. The girls' eyes immediately light up. Soon the whole group arrives in a peaceful green forest. Several tents are set up in a grassy clearing. The three girls happily run around exploring the area. The minions eagerly help set up the tents, though they sometimes tie the ropes incorrectly and make the tents lean sideways. As evening approaches, everyone prepares to start a campfire. Gru hands the minions some pieces of firewood and points to a circle of stones in the middle of the campsite. But the moment Gru turns his back, the minions begin doing things their own way. One minion pours an entire bottle of fuel onto the pile of wood. Another minion waves a piece of cardboard to fan the fire. A third minion lights the pile using a large flaming torch. Within seconds, the fire explodes into a massive blaze. The flames spread to the nearest tent. The fabric quickly catches fire. The minions panic and run around wildly. One minion tries to put out the fire by fanning even harder, but that only makes the flames grow bigger. Gru quickly grabs his phone and calls Dr. Nefario. Moments later, the sound of an engine roars in the sky. A small airplane flies toward the campsite. Dr. Nefario sits in the cockpit, controlling the aircraft, which carries a huge water tank. Soon the fire is completely extinguished. However, the entire campsite is now soaked with water and mud. The minions stand there drenched, their hair slightly burnt, shivering. Gru sighs in relief. The pillow fight won. Quiet evening in the living room of Gru. A group of minions are sitting on a large sofa watching TV. Some minions lie back comfortably, while others eat bananas and giggle at the movie. Bob is hugging a soft pillow. While laughing, he accidentally swings it and lightly bumps Stuart on the head. Stuart slowly turns around, slightly surprised. He looks at the pillow, then at Bob. Stuart picks up another pillow and lightly smacks Bob with it. Bob bursts out laughing. Nearby, Kevin turns around after noticing the two playing with pillows. Suddenly, Stuart swings his pillow toward Kevin. Thump! Kevin freezes for a moment, then slowly reaches for a much larger pillow. Within seconds, the pillow battle begins. Pillows start flying across the living room. Minions run around the sofa, laughing and tossing pillows at each other. One minion jumps off the couch and smacks two other minions with a pillow at the same time. A pillow flies into a table lamp, making it wobble. Another minion jumps onto an armchair like a warrior, throwing pillows repeatedly like rapid-fire shots. Stuart swings a pillow too hard and rips one corner open. A few feathers float out. The group pauses for a moment, watching the feathers slowly drifting through the air. Then suddenly, one minion smacks the torn pillow again. Feathers burst out everywhere like snow. Instantly, the minions become even more excited. They start hitting pillows non-stop. Pillows rip open and feathers explode into the air. Within moments, the living room turns into a swirling white feather storm. Just then, the door opens. Gru walks in. Behind him, a minion jumps off the sofa and slams a pillow onto the floor, sending a huge cloud of feathers flying straight onto Gru. Gru stands frozen, his hair and coat completely covered in feathers. The room slowly becomes quiet as the minions realize Gru is standing there. One final feather gently floats down in front of him. Gru sighs. In the corner of the room, Bob happily jumps into the giant feather pile like diving into snow. Minion the Magician. One afternoon in the living room of Gru. A group of minions gather around a small table. On the table are a magician's hat, a magic wand, and a large red cloth. Stuart steps forward, wearing an oversized magician's cape and a tall hat. He gives a dramatic bow like a professional magician. The minions sit in a circle and clap excitedly. The first trick begins. Stuart places a banana on the table and covers it with the red cloth. He waves the wand dramatically. The cloth is pulled away. The banana has completely disappeared. The minions stare in shock, then burst into loud applause. Stuart proudly bows again. But when Stuart tries to bring the banana back, he waves the wand several times. Nothing happens. He awkwardly looks inside the magician's hat and shakes it. A red apple falls out. The minions look confused. Stuart quickly moves on to the next trick. He places a watch on the table, covers it with the cloth, and waves the wand again. The cloth is lifted, the watch is gone. Stuart tries to bring it back by reaching into the magic hat. This time, a rubber chicken drops out. The minions begin to look suspicious. The third trick begins. Stuart invites Bob to be his assistant. Bob stands beside a large wooden box. Stuart signals for Bob to climb inside, then closes the lid. Stuart waves the wand dramatically. The box is opened. Bob Bob has vanished. The minions panic and look around. Stuart begins to worry. He waves the wand repeatedly, opens the hat, shakes the box, lifts the cloth. But Bob does not appear. The minions start searching everywhere, under the sofa, behind the curtains, inside cabinets. No Bob. Just then, Gru walks into the room. He looks around at the messy scene, the magic table, scattered props, and minions running everywhere searching for something. Stuart nervously points at the empty box. Gru raises an eyebrow. At that moment, Bob suddenly pops his head out of the magician's hat, sitting on the table. He is smiling happily and holding the missing banana from the first trick. The minions immediately cheer and clap. The mysterious beast in Gru's house. Inside the laboratory of Gru, it's a quiet morning. The minions are doing small chores. One minion is mopping the floor, another is stacking bananas into a tall tower, while Bob is hugging a banana that is bigger than his head. A mysterious creature stumbles out from behind a work table. Its head is completely covered by a metal bucket, so it cannot see where it's going. Only two small legs and flapping wings can be seen as it moves around blindly. It crashes straight into a cabinet. Bang! Test tubes and bottles fall and scatter across the floor. The minions freeze and stare at the strange monster. Kevin quickly signals for everyone to surround it. The chaotic chase begins. Stuart runs forward with a bug-catching net, but slips on a banana peel, spinning around before falling flat. Bob throws a cardboard box to trap the creature, but accidentally drops it over Kevin's head instead. Another minion tries to block the path, but gets bumped in the stomach and flies backward into the wall. The strange creature keeps running wildly around the base. It knocks over a shelf, then rushes into the living room and slams into the sofa, flipping it over. The entire place turns into chaos. Minions run everywhere, slipping on banana peels, crashing into each other, and falling in a domino-like chain. At that moment, Dr. Nefario walks into the room holding a device. He stops and looks at the scene. Broken furniture, minions scattered across the floor, and a mysterious creature with a bucket on its head running in circles. Calmly, he raises a net gun. The creature runs past. Whoosh! The net shoots out and captures the creature completely. It struggles for a moment and then stops moving. The minions slowly gather around it, curious. Kevin carefully lifts the metal bucket. Underneath is a chicken. The chicken blinks a few times and clucks softly while still tangled in the net. The minions stare silently for a moment, then suddenly burst into laughter. Banana car race. Inside Gru's laboratory, a group of minions are busy experimenting with bananas. Kevin squeezes a banana into a small machine and watches banana juice flow into a glass container. Stuart sniffs it and makes a disgusted face, while Bob happily claps his hands. Suddenly, Kevin gets an idea. He quickly sketches a banana-powered race car on a board. The minions' eyes light up, and they all shout together, "Banana!" Instantly, the lab turns into a chaotic workshop. One minion attaches wheels to an office chair. Another stuffs a bunch of bananas into a fuel tank. Stuart puts on safety goggles, but accidentally installs the exhaust pipe backwards. Within minutes, 3 strange banana cars are ready. Kevin raises a flag made from a banana peel and shouts, "Go. Ready, go!" The 3 cars shoot down the hallway of Gru's base. Stuart's car moves incredibly fast, but the banana engine begins spraying banana juice behind it. Another minion slips on a banana peel that falls from Stuart's car and spins around like a top. At the next turn, Bob's car starts shaking violently. Bob laughs while driving, but the banana fuel tank begins to swell bigger and bigger. Banana! Uh-oh! Boom! Bob's car explodes into a cloud of banana foam. Bananas splatter everywhere across the hallway. The other minions slip and fall one after another like dominoes. One car loses control and crashes straight into a tall stack of bananas. Bananas roll everywhere. At that exact moment, Gru steps out of the elevator. He stands still for a few seconds, staring at the scene. Minions lying everywhere. The floor covered in bananas. And one banana car still spinning its wheels on the ceiling. Gru sighs. Minions! A minion suddenly slides past him on a banana peel. Gru closes his eyes and shakes his head. Clean it up, all of it. Gru is holding a mop and cleaning a massive pile of bananas. Behind him, a minion secretly finishes building Banana Car 2.0. the Minion cloning machine. In the laboratory of Gru, Dr. Nefario pushes in a large machine covered with a cloth. He pulls the cloth away, revealing a strange device filled with wires and blinking lights. One Minion is placed inside. The machine shakes, lights flash rapidly, and poof! The door opens. Two identical Minions step out. Gru crosses his arms and watches, clearly satisfied. The two new Minions immediately start doing housework. One Minion mops the floor at lightning speed, leaving it sparkling clean. The other washes dishes, but soap bubbles fly everywhere. Gru sits comfortably reading a newspaper, nodding happily as the chores get done faster. Dr. Nefario, excited, walks to the control panel and turns a large dial to a higher level. The machine begins to shake violently. A flood of Minions pours out like a broken dam. Dozens of Minions run everywhere. Some slip on the soapy floor and crash into each other in a rolling pile. Others climb onto the ceiling lights and swing like monkeys. Another group runs circles around the lab table. The chaos quickly spreads through the house. One group of Minions races around the living room riding vacuum cleaners. Another group opens the fridge, grabbing bananas and tossing them to each other while eating wildly. On the sofa, several Minions jump and dance crazily. Gru tries to grab one Minion, but the moment he turns around, three more dash past his legs. Dr. Nefario suddenly gets an idea. He throws a banana into the machine. The control panel lights up and switches to reverse mode. The machine emits a powerful beam of light and begins pulling everything toward it. The Minions running everywhere suddenly notice the banana inside the machine and rush toward it. The suction pulls them backward through the air. One Minion riding a skateboard is lifted off and sucked straight into the machine. Another Minion eating a banana gets dragged along with it. One by one, dozens of Minions fly through the air and disappear into the machine. The machine slowly quiets down. The door opens again. Only one Minion steps out, looking around in confusion. The time travel machine. Inside the laboratory of Dr. Nefario, a large machine with several metal rings and tangled wires is being assembled. Dr. Nefario proudly pulls down a board showing drawings of clocks and timelines. He presses the start button. The metal rings on the machine begin spinning, glowing with a bright blue light. Just then, Gru walks into the lab. He looks at the machine suspiciously. While Dr. Nefario is busy adjusting the control panel, one curious Minion pulls a large lever. Suddenly, the machine shakes violently. A blinding flash of light fills the room. A swirling vortex of energy appears and pulls Gru and the Minions into it. Gru and the Minions fall onto the ground in the middle of a vast prehistoric jungle. Giant trees and enormous ferns tower above them. The air is filled with strange insect sounds. Gru looks around in confusion. At that moment, a loud roar echoes through the jungle. A large carnivorous dinosaur appears in the distance and begins charging straight toward them. Gru quickly grabs the Minions and runs. A wild chase begins. Gru and the Minions sprint through the jungle, sliding down dirt slopes and squeezing between giant tree trunks. One Minion climbs onto the back of the long-necked dinosaur to escape, but gets tossed off and lands in a bush. While running, Gru spots the time machine lying in a clearing nearby. He rushes toward it and tries to reactivate the control panel. The Minions scramble around, pulling wires and turning gears as Gru gestures urgently. The carnivorous dinosaur gets closer and closer. It roars loudly right behind them. Just in time, the machine lights up again. A swirling portal opens. Gru quickly pushes the Minions into the portal one by one. In a flash, they all tumble back into the laboratory. Everything suddenly becomes quiet again, as if nothing had happened. Gru sighs in relief. Minions as painters. One morning in front of the house of Gru. The walls of the house are old, and the paint is peeling. Nearby are several buckets of paint in bright colors: red, blue, yellow, and purple. A group of Minions stand around wearing safety helmets and holding paintbrushes. Gru stands at the door, looking at the worn-out wall. He points at the house, signaling that the entire place needs to be repainted. The Minions nod excitedly. One Minion swings his brush too hard and splashes paint onto the window. Another Minion tries to clean the window, using a paintbrush, which quickly turns the glass into a big blue patch. In the yard, Stuart is painting the fence when he slips slightly, and his roller accidentally paints the trunk of a nearby tree. Seeing the colored tree, Other minions think it's a new idea and immediately start painting more colors on the trunk and branches. Soon, the tree looks like a giant, colorful candy stick. Meanwhile, Kevin is still trying to keep the wall neat. But below him, Bob accidentally knocks over a bucket of yellow paint. The paint spreads across the ground. A minion slips on the puddle and slides straight into Kevin, causing Kevin's brush to drag a long streak of paint from the wall onto Stuart's face. Stuart freezes for a moment with paint all over him. Then he quickly retaliates by brushing paint onto another minion. Within seconds, a paint fight begins. Paintbrushes swing everywhere. Rollers spin across the yard. One minion even jumps into a paint bucket and runs around leaving colorful footprints behind. Another minion accidentally drops a paint bucket from the ladder. The paint splashes down, creating a giant colorful patch on the wall. Seeing that, a few minions start adding shapes, swirls, dots, and long streaks. Within moments, the wall of the house turns into a giant, chaotic painting full of colors. Minions covered in paint from head to toe. And the house now looks like a huge, abstract artwork, Gru size, while the minions continue happily running around the yard, leaving paint marks everywhere. Inside the house of Gru, the three girls are sitting in the living room. Agnes Gru holds a small, colorful candy and stares at it for a moment, looking unsatisfied. She imagines a giant candy taller than herself, her eyes lighting up with excitement. Agnes runs over to Gru, holds up the small candy, and spreads her arms as wide as possible to show a really big candy. Gru looks at her adorable expression, sighs softly but eventually nods. In the laboratory, Gru and Dr. Nefario begin building a candy-making machine. Gru presses the start button. The machine begins to rumble as syrup flows through the tubes into the mold. A giant candy slowly forms. Agnes stands in front of the machine with shining eyes. When the mold opens, a huge candy appears, almost as tall as Gru. Agnes jumps up happily and hugs it, but the machine does not stop. The lights begin flashing, and more syrup keeps pouring in. The candy grows bigger and bigger. Gru quickly presses the stop button, but the control panel starts beeping with warning sounds. The mold shakes violently. Suddenly, the giant candy pops out of the mold and falls onto the floor with a loud thump. It begins rolling across the laboratory. Minions are pushed and tumble to the sides. One minion gets stuck to the sticky candy surface and is dragged along as it rolls. The lab door bursts open. The giant candy rolls straight out of the house. Gru, Dr. Nefario, and the minions panic and chase after it. On the street outside, the enormous candy rolls downhill. It rolls across the sidewalk, knocks over a street cart, and continues through a park. Pedestrians jump aside in surprise. A group of minions jump onto the candy trying to stop it, but they just spin around helplessly on its slippery surface. Dozens of minions cling to the candy, licking while spinning around it. The candy slowly becomes smaller. It rolls slower and slower until it shrinks into a small round candy that fits in Agnes's hand. Agnes happily picks it up, while Gru sighs with relief behind her.